Corky Galileo.
You're just thinking about it. You're like, hang on a minute. Are they just going to rinse and repeat?
At least they're not playing like Nidalee drafts. That would be absolutely mental. They're copying the whole LCK and then just inting.
Side note, where other regions aren't really looking at it. It's a Nidalee.
What? What?
Somebody's been watching some.
Every time an LEC team drafts a poke comp, Twitch chat and Cadril lose their minds. Fans are tired of seeing LEC teams think they have Canyon on their team and lock in Nidalee, only to look absolutely useless in teamfights. Like in this teamfight when KC think they have hard engage and look for multiple flank angles instead of poking. And clearly, Ornn, Zyra, and Aurora just melt them with their AoE ults. This is the second video in a two-part series that analyzes how teams in different regions play poke comps. If you haven't seen the first video on LCK teams and how they smurf on poke comps, the link is in the description below. But now, let's analyze why LEC teams fail over and over again when they play poke. Most LEC teams try to play poke comps at least once. Even SK, one of the worst teams in the LEC, had the guts to run a poke comp against G2 with Nidalee and Corky. In this Dragon fight, Isma already made a mistake by throwing his Nidalee spear at Dragon. As a poke comp, your goal isn't to rush down Dragon, but rather poke your opponents down to dissuade them from contesting it. Next, Isma and Rahel both turn their attention to Dragon instead of poking G2 with spears and rockets. This allows Skewmon and Labrov to enter the river with no fear of eating poke. It looks like SK are having Loopy play bodyguard to G2, while the other 4 members are bursting down Dragon, but this is not how to play poke. Instead, Loopy should back off, and Corky and Nidalee should be poking. By the time G2 are in position and Broken Blade engages onto Loopy, G2 has taken no poke damage at all. This is an absolutely losing teamfight to take as a poke comp. You must have dealt a lot of poke damage before the teamfight breaks out. Reeker gets a great 2-man ult onto Skewmon and Caps, comboed with a spear from Isma, but Genex doesn't get the memo. Reeker's ult was non-committal since he can snap back with Yone E, but Genex went all in and tanked for nobody. Not to mention that Broken Blade's Poppy ult knocked away Isma and Loopy as well. Genex eventually dies in a literal 1v5, and in the meantime, Reeker and Rahel think that they can burst down Dragon, only to Lisha for G2. This is a perfect example of how to not play a poke comp. SK used their poke on Dragon, and they are left wondering why G2 were so healthy and won the teamfight. Instead, SK had to delay and poke for hours before fighting. In this match between Vitality and G2, both teams drafted heavy poke. Vitality has Rumble, Maokai, Corky, and Jhin, all of whom have long-range poke to threaten G2's backline, and G2 has equally crazy poke with Brand, Smolder, and Varus. Clearly, whoever pokes better will win. For most of the game, both teams are just staring at each other and conceding objectives left and right, such as here when G2 just walks away and gives Otacon for free to Vitality. At 33 minutes, G2 has full control of the river, and Vitality are playing so passively to not eat crazy poke. But by the time they use a blue trinket, Baron is at half HP, which is already too late. G2 gets a free Baron, with Vitality grouping and just doing nothing. By the time the next Baron spawns, G2 gets it again for free, but this time, Vitality has a plan. They know that in a poke versus poke matchup, whoever arrives at the objective first has insane poke pressure on their opponents, who have to walk in with a fear of eating crazy poke. So, as Eller is spawning, Vitality set up in the bottom river while G2 enters carefully. Labrov is already taken to half HP by Karzi's RFC auto, and with Infernal Soul, Vitality is in a great spot to secure Elder here. Linsis knows exactly what his job is on Maokai, and he spams saplings from above, while Knock Knocko is in position to form Rumble Equalizer from below. Broken Blade is delegated as a sole face checker of G2, and he eats Corky and Jhin poke that does some damage to him. Vitality has an insanely tight grip on this river bush. They are doing a great job of letting no one on G2 walk through for free. But Chai gets impatient and starts Elder, and he is spotted with a blue trinket. This gives G2 more reassurance that they can walk through the river bush without fear of Corky rockets. I don't blame Chayek starting Elder though, since stalling forever could mean G2 can backdoor with a destroyed inhibitor in top lane. Nonetheless, Linsis and Knock pull back while Carzzy is flanking from above now, and he gets another RFC shot on Labrov that nearly kills him. Vitality are playing so well so far, even hinting at resetting Elder Dragon aggro and unleashing their poke from afar. But when Carzzy has his 4th shot ready, he makes the fatal mistake of being too greedy with his positioning. When Labrov goes in for a flash Alistar combo, what does Carzzy do? No, he doesn't flash backwards, but rather flashes forwards and still gets knocked up by Alistar Q. This aggressive flash while playing a poke comp is just diabolical. After Carzzy is traded for Labrov, the fight starts to crumble for Vitality, and G2 are in position to steal Elder. Linsis' Maokai ult then roots Skewmon, and Knock combos this with Rumble ult, and Knock plays well by deleting Skewmon to prevent G2 from stealing Elder. And sure enough, Vitality gets Elder. And they do get 2 more kills onto Broken Blade and Hansama. But man, only if Carzzy played more safely. Then he could unleash hell with Jhin ult, and perhaps win the game with his Elder fight that started so well for Vitality. But they fumbled this fight super hard in my opinion. At 46 minutes, Vitality just didn't have any patience left to play a poke comp. Hylissang finds a juicy multi-man engage angle, and without even thinking if his teammates can follow up, he gets a 3-man Rel ult. Poke comps have no burst, so there's no way engaging onto full HP G2 members is a good idea here. While the poke does look promising, Hilly just gets deleted, and G2 carefully poke back and delete the rest of Vitality to win the game. Congratulations Vitality, you just played yourself. BDS also tried their luck with a poke comp with Nidalee, Jayce, and Varus, and in this game against Fnatic, they got a decent early game lead. Right before Otacon, BDS dropped Rift Herald to force Fnatic to make a decision, either contest Otacon or save your mid inner tower. But obviously, Fnatic is going to fight at Otacon since it's such an important objective. BDS start Otacon, but as soon as Fnatic get in position, they make the wise choice to slow down their DPS of Otacon and try to land poke onto Fnatic. Like here, when Ice tucks himself into the Dragon Pit to get a Varus Q onto Humanoid. BDS aren't hitting Otacon, and Fnatic are keeping their distance, but eventually, Nuke gets a Shock Blast on Mickey. Fnatic starts to realize that they can't continue to eat poke like this, so they keep a super safe distance from Otacon, and Humanoid is even backing with 3/4 HP, which is still kinda healthy. Otacon then resets, and BDS are now confused. They are scratching their heads, and wondering, what are Fnatic doing? Why aren't they approaching us and eating our poke? The right choice here for BDS is to start Otacon again to give Fnatic a reason to get close. But instead of restarting Otacon to force Fnatic's hand, they get too antsy and walk towards Fnatic instead. Irrelevant gets caught by Upset and Mickey, who are hiding in the bot lane bush. And then Mickey engages onto Irrelevant, which is great for Fnatic, because a forced fight means less time for BDS to poke. Mickey's engage is followed up by Oscar Rainen's Rumble ult, and Razork uses Vi Q to join the fight. And together, Fnatic delete Irrelevant just in time for Upset's Kalista ult to save Mickey. Humanoid TP's back to the fight and gets a nice Smolder ult that chunks Nuke and Ice. And then, both teams disengage and have a stare down at Otacon. Upset is getting lots of Kalista run stacks on Otacon, and BDS try to poke Fnatic, but their time is running out. When 113 tries to steal Otacon, he stands no chance to Fnatic's Ren Smite combo, and Fnatic secure Otacon from 2k HP. Just like every other LEC team that tried poke comps, BDS got too antsy. They were in a positional advantage. They just had to start Otacon again, instead of wandering and getting caught by Upset and Mickey. Later this game at Dragon, BDS tries their luck once again with their poke comp. They make sure to dance around Dragon early, and they land some initial poke. Eventually, they strike gold with Varus ult rooting Humanoid, followed by Varus and Nidalee spears that almost kill him. BDS then correctly pressures Dragon, luring the rest of Fnatic to take more poke from Ice. Dragon is at 4k, and Ice tags 2 Fnatic members once again with a Varus Q. Mickey and Razork are now getting dangerously low. Around this time, BDS should consider going all in on Fnatic. But Razork has the biggest balls, and he decides to start the fight on his own terms, and he flash Qs 113, followed by a Vi ult, Rumble ult combo. And as both junglers try to smite Dragon, it is actually Nuke's Shock Blast that secures Dragon for BDS. Ultimately, BDS gets Dragon and a kill onto Razork that for once demonstrates that LEC teams can execute poke comps once in a while. BDS also gets Baron this game, and they use it to siege Fnatic's bot tower. This is a dream situation for a poke comp. With Baron, they will inevitably win any siege battle if they just play their cards correctly. And with the massive poke they land on Fnatic, this inner tower is so free. The Nidalee Spear would have even killed Mickey if it wasn't for his perfectly timed Rel W shield. BDS continues to siege the inhib tower, topped off with Nidalee heals. But like every other poke comp disaster, BDS gets too impatient. Ice goes for a flash Varus ult onto Humanoid, with the hopes of one-shotting him. This seems great, but he doesn't take into account that 113 just wasted his spear at the exact same time. And his Varus Q is just not enough to kill Humanoid. And now, Fnatic sees a comeback of a lifetime. All at once, Razork jumps on Ice, and Mickey flash ults the rest of BDS. Ice is deleted with Vi ult, and Upset throws Mickey with Kalista ult for a second round of knockups. This beautiful CC layering from Upset and Mickey is enough to get a clean ace on BDS and eventually win the game. BDS's poke comp showed the most promise so far, but once again, they fall victim to being too damn impatient. Our last example will be MKOI's attempt at a poke comp versus Team Heretics. In this clip, MKOI is landing decent poke on Team Heretics, but Stend has an amazing flank angle on Rel. But he fumbles the flank, with a Rel W that hits nobody. This disorganized fight results in 2 easy kills for MKOI. At one point in the game, MKOI had a 6k gold lead, and since they also have Baron, it should be super easy to siege and get 1 or 2 inhibs, right? Well, MKOI knew exactly how to throw their massive lead. Mirwin gets caught with Sheo walking up to him and picking a fight. He is about to get Lilia ulted, but decides to go back in to nullify to sleep. Mirwin is deleted instantly, and once the first mistake is made, the fragile poke comp just falls apart. Team Heretics continues to go aggressive onto MKOI, and although they lose Stend, they get an easy trade onto Elyoya. At 34 minutes, MKOI still have a small lead, and they are trying to poke Team Heretics before starting Baron. They get great poke onto Stend, and then Flacket eats a Nidalee Spear while autoing a control ward. And now, Team Heretics realizes they need to run for their lives. But instead of using this opportunity to start Baron and forcing Team Heretics to stay, MKOI gets antsy, and they want to chase Team Heretics instead. I suppose this isn't a huge mistake, since MKOI are keeping their distance and try to land more poke. But Mirwin gets bored and has other plans. He ults Flacket and just runs away. The dance quickly descends into chaos, and Supa is caught out by Stend's flash Rel ult. Flacket complements the aggression and flashes after Supa and easily kills him. MKOI tries to make stuff happen on the other side of the fight by attacking Sheo and Kamilu, but Sheo buys critical time with his Zanyas, and Kamilu kites away with Corki W. And just like that, MKOI's poke comp collapses once again, and they are all hunted down one by one, resulting in a 3-for-1 trade in favor of Team Heretics. MKOI's 6k gold lead is basically gone at this point. MKOI has one more chance to make things right at this dragon fight, and they set up first and begin to throw poke at Team Heretics. Stend is first to take huge poke, and he is taken to half HP instantly. As dragon spawns, MKOI makes the right choice to fan out and throw poke from multiple different angles, and Supa chunks Stend to critically low HP. The onslaught of poke is so much that it even takes Carlson on Cassante down to half HP. Now, Elyoya starts Dragon to force Team Heretics to make an uncomfortable decision whether to stick around and contest Dragon. But luckily for Team Heretics, Sheo gets a 2-man sleep onto Jojo and Alvaro that might turn the fight. But Alvaro's Braum ult prevents any further aggression from Team Heretics. Team Heretics retreats, and MKOI continues to hit Dragon. But Supa makes a mistake of getting too close to Flagged and takes huge damage from a single auto and Draven ult. And with so many low members on both teams, a fight breaks out. Mirwin engages on Kamilu on the flank, but Team Heretics' coordination is unreal, and both Carlson and Kamilu delete Elyoya. Stend then falls from Ezreal poke, but Team Heretics has no problem securing Dragon with Smite. And at this point, Supa is mental boomed, and just arcane shifts forward and dies. Sheo then runs over Jojo and Alvaro, and with this teamfight win at Dragon, Team Heretics just ends the game. I saved this game for last because it was the most embarrassing mis-execution of a poke comp by any LEC team so far. MKOI had such a huge lead, but different members just had to get caught at several different fights. MKOI just has ADHD or something, and I doubt we will see them running a poke comp again. This concludes my two-part series about poke comps, where I compare LCK and LEC teams and explain the massive gap in how they play. My biggest takeaway is that LEC teams start teamfights well and poke a lot, but they always get too impatient and forget that they can't engage however they'd like. Now, I want to hear your thoughts about poke comps. Do you think LEC teams should continue to play poke? Or is nobody good enough to play poke except for Eastern teams? Let me know in the comments. If you like analytical content like this, please hit the like and subscribe button for more. I also have a Discord server where you can chat with me and other analytical viewers. The link is once again in the description below. Take care and see you in the next video.